I love being on juries. I've been on a few film juries before. You get in a room with a bunch of very talented people, have a completely different experience, and in this instance, from different countries with a whole different cultural aspect. And then you get to fight it out about what's important, why stories are important, what prizes mean, and it's an enormously rewarding afternoon.
Is there anyone in particular on the jury that you've had a good time with?
Well, Anne, our president, is fantastic. She's run giant corporations and networks before, so I was both inside the jury and outside watching her magnificent skills, her diplomatic man-management skills.
How about Monaco itself? Have you had a chance to discover it? Did you go to the palace last night?
I've been to the palace, I walked around, I went the wrong direction out of a restaurant the first night, and so I walked the entire length of Monaco, which I think is about a mile and a half. I had no money, so I had to walk back again. I couldn't get a taxi. So I think I've seen an awful lot of it. It is exactly as you would expect. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world, and that's why the beautiful people come and live here.
What kind of a TV watcher are you? What's one of your favorite shows you've seen recently?
I binge, so I start something, and then I because I'm an actor on strange schedules, I can sit up all night and watch all 8 or even 12 hours of things in one go. Sometimes things I don't even like. I'm 3 episodes in, I think, well, there's only 9 left, what the hell will I do them all? I generally don't watch drama because I see the joins. I mean, I'm in that business, so I see it must have been developed this way, or that's what I would do next and stuff. And it's what they call a busman's holiday in England. So I watch comedy a lot. I watch documentaries a lot. Watch indie movies a lot. And then when I get into a series, I'm going to do the whole thing.
You've done film, obviously, but also a lot of TV, and we are here at the TV Festival. If you were to pick one day on a shoot that was particularly memorable, perhaps a funny story you like to tell, something from some shoot recently that you could share with us.
Oh my God, the best stories, of course, are the ones that you couldn't possibly share with anybody else, because then you'd never work again. You know, I'm here ostensibly partly because one of the most recent things is Star Trek. And you have to shrug off the legacy of it all. If you're going to be a captain in the Star Fleet vessel, you can't be thinking about the genius of William Shatner or Patrick Stewart, any of that stuff. And indeed I didn't. I'm a guy, and I'm trying to win the war with the Klingons and trying to get things done, and wearing a ridiculously skin-tight gastric band of a costume where there's nowhere to put your hands. Well, 2 things happened on my first day. One is that Patrick Stewart became very famous for tugging his jacket down. That was the Jean-Luc Picard move, tugging his jacket down. They didn't want that to happen, so they zipped the jacket to the trousers, which is all very well, except when you lift your hands up in the air when your pants get a kind of front wedgie, which was not a look that CBS were very keen on. So I wasn't aware of that until I'd done a couple of scenes where they went, that's not a look we think we should be sending out to the kids. And then I said, on my first day, I said, energize. And I had managed to put all of the rest of Star Trek out of my mind. I was just a guy doing this thing, and I said, energize. And in the middle of the scene, I had to stop and look around, and nobody else was doing what I was doing inside. I was going, I just said energize. Did you see that? They'd been there a couple of weeks. They weren't that impressed.
Of course, you're also known to a whole generation for being Lucius Malfoy. When you look back on those years, of all the Harry Potter years, do you have a favorite memory from that time?
Well, the thing about the Harry Potter stuff for me is it was a decade. But for me, every year or two, I would go in for a month or maybe a little bit more. For Daniel, Rupert, and Emma and Tom, that was a continuous experience for them. So I would go back and I would deal with these 14-year-olds like they were 12. And then I would go back and deal with the 16-year-olds like they were 14. I was continually misjudging how grown up they were and what their life experiences were. I remember going back and they were drinking alcohol going, wait a second, where are the chaperones? They're going, well, they are 20. You know, they're allowed to do stuff like that. But I remember the first scene I did, which was cut from the film, first scene I did, I'd asked for this cane to be my wand, and no one had those things, and they didn't know why I wanted it, but I felt it was an affectation. I needed all the props I could get. And they built me this cane that had a big snake head on the top with fangs coming out. And little Tom, his big wide eyes, was like 11 years old or something. My first line was, don't touch Draco. And so I tapped him with this cane. But I didn't really know the weight of it. And the thing went shh, and these teeth went right into his hand, these kind of very sharp teeth. Broke the skin on his hand, and he looked up and his little eyes filled with tears, and he went, sorry, Father. And then we finished the scene, and they said, cut, and I went, Tom, I am so sorry. He went, no, it was good for the scene. And to this day, he's still my friend, but he thinks he thinks I did it on purpose to get a reaction out of him. And if he watches this, I really didn't.
Do you really feel that the lines have really blurred now between TV actors and cinema actors? I mean, I know that's obviously starting to be the case in the States. Is it the same in the UK?
Yeah, it's actually been that way for a long time now. First of all, the audiences separate themselves because young people go to the cinema, and a film's fate is decided on the first Friday or Saturday night. Well, grown-ups don't need to go out and see the films on the first Friday night. They just don't. So films are made increasingly for younger people, and most of them are, the big American films are all superhero franchises. And so if you're a grown-up and you want sophisticated images, you want to see nuanced characters, you want to see your life reflected back, it's television that does it for you. And as an actor, those are the parts you want to play. Now, you might want a big paycheck if you're lucky enough to get one every now and again to put Leica on, but mostly you're in the storytelling business because you love stories and you love three-dimensional explorations of the human condition. And that stuff is happening on television much more than it happens on films. It happens in indie movies, and those are the things that are fun to do as long as you have a trust fund.